Hey everyone, it's Normal Life. Welcome back to the channel of Normal Life, and in today's video we are going to talk about, well, we're going to make it easy for you to pick out the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Series X. Now if you didn't watch, I made my previous video when talking about the consoles about my decision what I'm going to go for. Now if you missed that, I'll leave a link in the description below, or probably put a card above my head so you can click on that so you can get straight to that video so you can see what I've decided in the console wars. But this video is not going to try and sway you to go to one side on my decision, on my next gaming experience. It's going to weigh things up together to help you make a decision. And this is probably going to be a fairly short video just because I can sum both arguments in one sentence. Now if you're actually still watching, you haven't clicked on the link in the description or above my head about what I chose, you probably know that I picked PC. I didn't pick any consoles just because how I film videos and stream, I don't want to be limited with the output on my monitor at 1080p 60 frames per second. Because yes, both consoles apparently can do 4K at 120 frames per second. I'll see that until I believe it really. But with the PC I can do 4K at 140 frames per second or a bit higher with my monitor as well. So I can actually get the ultimate gaming experience. That's why I chose PC. To forget all that, we're actually going to look at just consoles in this argument. So because not everyone can afford a PC and PCs are a more complicated mechanism. So this is all about the consoles, the Xbox Series X or the PlayStation 5. Now we'll start with looks. I believe that the Xbox over the PlayStation 5 looks the better console just because it looks neat. It looks like a mini PC in my opinion. I think it looks quite simple but effective. The PlayStation 5 looks a bit futuristic, but I can imagine the dust that will collect all in them grooves, them hidden spots with them like fin panels it's got on the side. So it may look better in your opinion. With the PlayStation 5 it looks a bit futuristic as a console, but I think the Xbox looks simple, effective, and probably can squeeze in better spaces because it is like a rectangle shape really. So in my opinion, I think the Xbox looks a bit better and probably more easy to clean as well. Now let's look at controllers. Probably PlayStation 5 will have the better controller, especially for a single player experience. Hey, it'll probably rumble in your hands and do different types of feels when you're trying to pull a bow. So PlayStation 5 are probably going to have the better controller. The Xbox hasn't changed much. Xbox is quite a consistent controller. It just works well, it feels good in your hands. So it depends what you want to do. If you want to have that little single player experience where you can have a bit more feel in your hands, or if you're probably like that multiplayer, you just want a controller that's quite good, responsive, it might be for Xbox. So that one is probably 50-50. Maybe PlayStation have the better controller because of the experience you're going to get off it. Now let's look at the hardware. We all know that Xbox Series X compared to the PlayStation 5 has the most powerful components. It's the most powerful console out of the two. You may only see a slight difference in graphics. Probably in years to come when games look better and they'll be tapping more into ray tracing, how light reflects. So I think you're not going to really tell the difference, but Xbox is going to be the more powerful console. But where PlayStation can up their game is that SSD, how you have technically no load screens, but I think Xbox probably can do that as well. We'll only know when the consoles do come out, but I think with hardware it is really 50-50, but it probably leans towards more Xbox side. So it's completely up to you. If you're not bothered about hardware, you may want to go for the PlayStation 5, and I'll tell you why. Now we go on to my next subject. As I mentioned, if you're not bothered about hardware, the PlayStation 5 will probably be more for you. Just because you probably won't notice the difference as well, but it'll have that fast SSD. But PlayStation, and this is talking about games, have the better exclusives. What I mean by exclusives is single player modes. So you'll have the great games such as Uncharted, Last of Us, which I'm a big fan of and which I'm sad to lose because I'm going to PC. So if you want that good experience, good graphics, good load screens as well with the single player mode, the PlayStation is probably more for you. But if you probably want a more powerful console that probably can do the highest frame rates compared out the two and have good resolution, you may want to go to the Xbox, especially if you're a first-person shooter person. For example, Call of Duty, you probably want to go Xbox because that's the best experience that you get. Yes, you can play both of them games on each console, but I think the Xbox will probably run them multiplayer games, online games, a bit better than the PlayStation. But obviously we'll only know when they come out, but if you look at the hardware, Xbox will do that. And just to summarise everything really, compared to everything that I said, if you like single player games or good story games that can only be played on the PlayStation 5, go PlayStation 5. If you like online games, multiplayer games, and every game can be played on both console, PlayStation 5 and Xbox, go with Xbox. That's the way to really solve the arguments. Don't be loyal to one brand. Try and think which is going to be the best for you, which is going to be the best for your experience. I chose PC because it has, and it's only really, it's quite a silly thing. I would have picked a console if they had a different HDMI port or display port. Then I could have picked one of them consoles, just because I can't. Well, I can stream off the console, but I'll have a limited display on my monitor. Just to make it simple for you, an Elgato capture card can only do 4K. Actually, you can buy a 4K one, so I can play in 4K, but only 60 frames per second. When some games can apparently do 120 frames per second. I want to play in the future. I don't want to go backwards in, because I've got an Elgato HD 60S, which is 1080p in 60 frames per second. So I don't want to go backwards. I want to see good resolution. I want to see highest frame rates that I can get, and only PC can offer me that. So if you want to go for PC, just go for that. But if you're just a console player, that's the argument. Solo games, PlayStation. Online games, Xbox. That's it. If you agreed with me, put your thumbs up. If you don't agree with me, put your thumb down. Write your comments below if you got anything else to put about this video. And yeah, if you're new around here, guys, consider subscribing, like and share what I do, as I do videos like this, gaming videos, and I'm doing probably more live streams than ever. So make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you all in my next one.